Hey, I'm Karen Lustrup here on YouTube as your astrologer, and we're tuning into the eclipses of February 2017. Before I start on your individual signs, let me just talk a little bit about these eclipses, what they do, what we can expect, and so forth. Now, we have two. We have a lunar eclipse and we have a solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse on February 11th, which I mentioned in your monthly horoscopes. For some of you, it's going to be the 10th, all right? So, depending on where we are in the world, and I work internationally, of course. So, in the States, it will be in the evening of the 10th, and then from Europe eastward, it will be on the 11th, all right? But it's going to be felt the same no matter where we are in this lunar eclipse, taking place 22 degrees in Leo. So for any of you having any planets at 22 degrees, this lunar eclipse will be affecting it directly. Lunar eclipses typically indicate the area of our charts or our life where things can come to a closure, to an end. And this is something that actually we want to cherish. Why? Because it's the universe's way of helping us to move forward. If we were to carry every single thought, action, deed within our consciousness, it takes up a lot of room, takes up a lot of space. It's clearing out time. It's like if you just stuff your garage floor to ceiling over time, that will just fill everything up and you wouldn't have much room for anything else. So when we clear out, it's emotionally and mentally very healthy to do so. So whatever comes to an end right now is only those things that are needing to end that can keep you healthy as you move forward, okay? So we really want to embrace this. This is why eclipses are so helpful to us as human beings, that can give us the preparation for what now will come with the solar eclipse on the 26th. That solar eclipse, it is also a new moon, 8 degrees in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, which again rules your spirituality, your dreams, your ability to envision a beautiful future for yourself as you move forward. It's that Piscean energy where there is love and empathy and creativity and whatnot. Such a beautiful, beautiful solar new moon eclipse there. So the lunar eclipse, Leo, let's start with that one first. And we are going to take you to Aries first, and how you can find your sign easily and navigate so you can skip the other sun signs. Just look at the little yellow markers, and that should bring you just approximately for where your sun sign solar eclipse reading will start. Okay, just so we have that as a navigation tool for you. Aries, your lunar eclipse on the 10th if you live in the States, 11th if you are in Europe. Onwards, for you, being 22 degrees in Leo will be your fifth house. All right, so this is where you will come to see that things can now clear up. This has to do with children, has to do with love and romance as well, and also your creativity as far as self expression. All right, so there could be an issue or a situation that now has been worked through, and you're feeling that you're done with it and wanting to rise above with it, then that is what you just want to let go of and say, so be it, just give it back to the universe, right? And then cheer onwards. The solar eclipse will be at 8 degrees Pisces, your 12th house, and it's in the area of where Neptune rules, so it's going to be double whammy for you. This indicates not just new beginnings, as any new moon does, Aries. This has to do also with the power of like 3 new moons. So expect leaps and bounds to take place where your life is going to speed up in this area. So the 12th house has to do more with that hidden side, that inner personal space of where you create your future, right? Because before anything in our physical life can come to manifestation, we need to see it first, right? So we use a lot of time dreaming uh, of what it is we want to accomplish. So here you can see you got the power with you. This new moon here is coming up as a conjunction to Neptune in the house of Pisces. So there you have it in the sign of Pisces. So it's like a triple whammy and the power of 3 new moons. Are you kidding me? Aries, this is definitely very super special for you, above and beyond any of the other zodiac signs. So really stay tuned there on the 10th, if you are in the States, to see that you use a little time that you set off to visualize, to meditate, okay, and do the most out of this. Hello, Taurus. This is your solar eclipse forecast for February, and the lunar eclipse is in your fourth house. So we're really targeting now that area that has to do with family, your roots and your foundation, who you are on the inside, looking at everything here from the past that might have been filling up over time. And of course, we stick to what really feels good, that we know really has its weight in gold of situations that we'd like to bring into the future, but so that for it to become stronger, we will eliminate. Some of you might be moving if you perhaps feel that you have fulfilled the purpose in the area where you now live. But of course, it doesn't mean that all Tauruses are going to be moving. But for those of you who will, then you will feel that that chapter is fulfilled, it's completed, time to move on. For others, you might come to see that there might have been situations between you and a family member or members. This area also rules our parents. It could be issues with them. Whatever that deal is, you could come to see that it has completed itself, that you're feeling now really good to go and move on from it, and that will just come to free you up. The new moon solar eclipse, on the other hand, which is a very spiritual eclipse for you, and that is because it is there 8 degrees in Pisces, being a very spiritual, very creative sign, and this is going to illuminate this area within your own spiritual consciousness. Now, the 11th house has to do with hopes and dreams, what you're reaching for, what you're wanting to manifest. So all new moons is when we want to put down our intentions. I speak about that every month, right? But this new moon has the power of 3 new moons because it's being eclipsed. And when that happens, it's going to send you forward really quickly in leaps and bounds towards those very dreams. It's a very magical eclipse for you. It is also a conjunct Neptune, which gives it even more power because that is the ruler of this new moon. So for you, there could be new people coming into your life, and if so, you will come to see that either they could be artists or they're spiritual that can also come to connect with you for a long time yet to come. So pay attention to that because I can see that there could be a soul connection between you and whoever you meet at this time. Gemini, your lunar eclipse will be in your third house. Now that's the area of your chart that you rule. So it's going to be super powerful for you. You're going to feel it more than maybe perhaps people most. Now, the third house has to do with communication, has to do with the gift of gab, right? Also short distance travel, but also interaction with, say, siblings or your closer community, your neighbors, and so forth. Now, something will not only be illuminated because that's what the full moon does, right? But since the eclipse is here, could now eradicate for you certain situations that might have been in the works between you and a sibling or a neighbor. It will just say, okay, it's done, right? You can let it go. And I see you letting go with not just joy for it being done, but also with a good healthy sense of pride because this full moon also is in the sign of Leo, which rules our pride. Since it is the area of communication, if you have had any kind of ongoing, lingering situation which you've been talking about back and forth with whomever it may be, this could also indicate that that will be the end of it, all right? A final conclusion on whatever issue. Either way, it is a liberating energy. It's something you can look forward to. Now, the new moon eclipse there on the 26th, well, that has to do with your 11th house. The 11th house, hopes and dreams, Gemini. And we know that we always speak about our intentions on a new moon, right? So that still goes. We want to place our intentions, but let me tell you the difference, though, only is that this new moon has the power of like 3 new moons, all right? So it's super magical, it's super powerful. To add to the magic to it, it is in not only in the sign of Pisces, but it is coming up as a conjunct to Neptune, which rules Pisces. So you could see that you could be perhaps super sensitive, super imaginative, creative. It's a very spiritual type influence. And in the area of your hopes and dreams, hello, you can just imagine whatever you want, and you will come to see that it really take you to those places of joy and happiness. Wonderful, beautiful placement, Gemini. Enjoy it. Be very conscious here of the 10th, 11th for you guys there in Europe, onwards, eastwards, right? For all you Cancerians, well, the lunar eclipse is showing up in your second house. This has to do with money and income, those things that you value, appreciate, and so forth. And this could be good news, all right? Don't now start fearing that this will be money taken from you. It's more so, I feel that if you have some debt, maybe you're going to be able to finalize that debt, pay it off, and that can be liberating and freeing for you. It's only those things that no longer behoove us which will be eclipsed away, all right? So we just want to stay really positive to it. I feel there's a lot of good energy and feelings in this because it is in the sign of Leo, which has to do with your pride, the way that you function in the world, the things that you love and feel attracted to in the material world. So the full moon will definitely put the spotlight on it. And then the eclipse will also take away perhaps worries that you've had. Okay, so it's not just material things or people that can be eclipsed out of our lives, but our thoughts. Maybe the way you've been thinking about your income. If you've had a lot of stress worrying about it, well, then worry should be leaving you, right? So, depending on your chart and what you have in your own personal chart, which of course I can't see from here, you will definitely at least come to feel the impact of this eclipse. Now, the solar eclipse, on the other hand, is in your ninth house, Cancerians, and it's super powerful. It's spiritual because it's in the sign of Pisces. You might want to check what other planets you have in your chart. They're at 8 degrees. Why? Well, because it will impact those planets with the transit. It will definitely bring things to the forefront, and you will come to see how things now can really start moving up and onwards. When I say up, it's because the ninth house has to do with the way we think, our philosophy, the way we spiritually grow our consciousness. The ninth house wants constantly to expand this area. You will feel that much more attuned psychically. There's a lot of joy and happiness. Now, a new moon in itself is where we place our intentions every month, the spark of a new beginning. When it is eclipsed like this, solar eclipse, well, it gives it the power of 3 new moons together. So you can imagine now that you can come to see how this area will start taking on leaps and bounds. It also has to do with long distance travel or people at distance, maybe even in other countries. If you're looking for visas, green cards, or finalizing a lawsuit, you can come to hear that that may now start picking up speed as well. If you're thinking about studying Cancer, what a way to go. This is the area of self-knowledge, and we always hear the expression, know thyself. Why? Because we become so empowered when we know who we are on the inside, spiritually as well. And no other sign than Pisces has that intuitive knowledge and understanding of how we're put together and where our place in the universe is. So some of you might just take on a course or take a class, go back to school, and if you do, well, this will definitely behoove you not just for this oncoming month or this oncoming year. It's opening up realms of your consciousness that can stay with you for a very, very long time to come. So both of these eclipses is all about what you value, what it is you now wish. And with the new moon in Pisces, talk about dreaming and imagining. This area is so visual, all right? So enjoy it. Try to take some time off to meditate and see what you come up with as far as your plans for the path that you're on. So we're looking at the solar and lunar eclipse here for you, Leo. And let's start with the lunar eclipse there. The 10th in the U.S., on the 11th there in Europe and further eastward. Listen, not only is this a lunar eclipse, but listen, Leo, it's showing up in your sign, giving it more oomph and power to you. It's in your first house, which has to do with self and personality, your pride, the way you radiate, the way you shine out towards the world, right? And so when a lunar eclipse comes in, it helps us eliminate those things we no longer want. So it's there to benefit us, help us move forward. So we see it as a blessing. If you already know what you're sensing, feeling, wanting to rid out of your life, then you're that much better, good to go. If not, well, then it can come upon you and you won't know it before it's there, but then you can come to make a major decision saying, I'm not doing this no more. If a situation over long term has been crossing, say, your personality or rubbing you the wrong way, whether it's a person, a situation, well, then this would be the time to actually say that you're done with it, right? That will free you up. And this is what we really need to look at it as a freedom from restrictions. The solar eclipse, on the other hand, is 8 degrees in Pisces, and it's super powerful because it's ruled by Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So it's like a double whammy uh, creative shot, vitamin shot that we're going to get as far as who we are when we look deeply into our spiritual genetics. You could become very extra impressionable here on this day. This is on the 26th. You could also get in touch with your creative sense of self. Of course, the eighth house is all about intimacy, how we share with our partner. So this could be magical. There's a lot of joy and happiness in this Piscean energy. So you might just have a bliss day with your loved one. You might also want to express some more of your own spiritual energy or creative energy. There might even be some insights as far as money, but not your monthly income, all right? So that is all good and is stable and is what it is. But this could be money coming from perhaps a settlement. So it could show up in many ways, perhaps as an investment payout. Now, all new moons are new beginnings, so this is what we're truly looking at. New beginnings in the sign of Pisces with that Neptunian force. And since it's not just a new moon, but a solar eclipse, listen, it has the power of 3 new moons to take you and give you wings to fly and speed forward in your life. So this is excellent news for joy, happiness, and improved financial security. So listen, Leo, stay tuned on those days. Listen within what's going on in your mind, right? And to the situations that are around you at this time. So Virgo, we are looking at your eclipses and that lunar eclipse on the 10th if you're in the States, the 11th if you are in Europe, and further eastward in the world. It shows up for you in your 12th house. Now this is your inner spiritual self. It's where we are behind the veil, behind the scenes, working, so forth. So whatever needs to be eliminated here, I feel, could have to do with thoughts, emotions, feelings, that has been piling up within you that you may or may not have been expressing, working with outwardly for some time, and perhaps even worries. So it's a good thing to let go of everything that doesn't behoove you in a practical, physical, emotional sense, because that's just holding you back, right? So anything toxic emotionally, great time to just throw it to the winds and let it, the winds carry it off, so that you can prepare yourself for what now is going to come into your life, and you have so much to look forward to. Because why? Well, this solar eclipse on the 26th, 8 degrees in Pisces, It is in your seventh house for not just love and relationship, but long-term relationships, committed relationships. It's your significant other or also partners that you work with very closely, one-on-one. This is the area that now is coming in and will be picking up speed. And that is because not only is this a new moon where we plant our intentions, we talk about planting our intentions every month when we look at the horoscopes, but this new moon, since it is a solar eclipse, it carries the signature and the power with it to as three new moons all in one. So it's supercharged, and it's also conjunct Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So it's really ruling the new moon. And this is you on your inner spiritual self. It's what you're looking for in your partner. Everything that is ideal, which is romantic. Happiness and bliss is what I say. And of course, Venus has been cruising through this area as of leading up to this point in time. You had all of January to do that. So I'm feeling that the new moon coming in here is going to trigger what you have laid down as a new foundation of what it is you desire from a relationship. So not only pay attention to lay down your intentions, but listen, you want to power it up, be conscious, mark February 26th on your calendar to make sure that you take a little time for yourself, because as you do, you'll also come to see that you're that much more attuned spiritually, telepathically, on your higher consciousness levels, where things will make sense to you, not just in the physical realm, but it will make sense to you what it is you see, what you envision for you, your life, your path. This is an ultimate time for you now to really crack open a new door. Not only will it linger for 1 month, and normally these eclipses, they linger for a year, but whatever you set down now as a new foundation definitely could hold the power to linger on for years to come from now in the area of your relationship. Because sure, next year we will have a new moon in Pisces, but it won't be eclipsed. There can be many, many, many years until you get a new moon solar eclipse in this area. So it's magical, all right? So hello Libra, we are looking at your solar and lunar eclipses here for February, and we're going to start off with the lunar first because that is showing up here in the United States on the 10th, on the 11th in Europe, and eastward throughout the world. Now, this is a lunar eclipse that carries a lot of pride with it, all right? It's in the sign of Leo, which really activates that side of our DNA and our personality. It's found in the 11th house, which has to do with your hopes and dreams, those things that you are reaching for, that you're trying to manifest, right? But since it is a lunar eclipse, we'll also see that certain situations or even people, because it's also the house of acquaintances and friends and so forth, might just now be eliminated, but I feel more so by your own choice. What is good. That will always remain with you and follow along. Nothing is going to be eclipsed out that you don't choose or that the universe sees fit for your highest good. As, for example, if there's toxic people in your life that always constantly seem to be rubbing you the wrong way or so, well, then they might just now be blocked, right? We find ourselves from time to time where even on our social medias, 11th house is social media as well, the internet and so forth. You might find yourself blocking somebody that has just been too on or just been too invasive and so forth. This would be the perfect time that you could find yourself doing exactly that, blocking toxic energy. That's all this is. So actually, it's working out for you, for your higher self, of course. Whereas the solar eclipse on the 26th shows up in your sixth house. Now, this is a powerful new moon, and we always talk month to month about setting your intentions under a new moon. Why? Because that's when we plant our seeds for new growth, new hopes and visions and so forth. But speak of vision, this new moon is very powerful in itself because it is in the sign of Pisces, which is very imaginative, which has no problems envisioning creative thoughts and future visualization. But it's also conjuncting Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, hence also uh, a double whammy rulership over this new moon. Now, Pisces is incredibly spiritual, just very intuitive. They come into this world with a lot of knack and know how of just intuitively knowing certain things. This is how you are going to get to feel here on this day, even though you are a Libra, but you're going to get that rush, this huge wave of Piscean energy that is always inherent within your nature, but brought to the surface now at this time. So your whole intention at this time should really focus on sixth house situation. The sixth house represents your day-to-day actions, activity, schedules, and so forth. How you can organize these areas to perfect them, make them work for you. And especially now as we're talking about new beginnings, that's what a solar eclipse is all about. These new beginnings that can actually, in a dream state way, come to enhance your life, Libra, not just for here and now. And we know new moons, they linger with us for a month to then a year. But since it is a solar eclipse new moon, you will have a new moon again next year in the same area. But then next year, it probably most likely won't be a solar eclipse new moon. That can be years and years to come before you get a second chance at it. This is the time that you truly want to benefit from it. It carries so many blessings along with it, spiritually and emotionally. So your creative self will be speaking to you on this day. So make an agreement with yourself that you're going to be listening. That's all it's going to take. That you listen to that higher self of yours that's trying to bring you on a wavelength in news of how you can increase positive, good health, daily routines. It's also the area of coworkers and how we interact with those people around us. So there could be insights coming here in this area for you also. Hello, Scorpio. So we're looking at your eclipses here for February 2017, and we're going to start with the lunar eclipse first. And it is a little exciting, and I hope that you are looking forward to both of these, even though a lunar eclipse often indicates the ending of something. Don't let that freak you out, all right? Because only those things that are needed to end will end. Whatever is good is great, and it will continue to be with you. Now, this lunar eclipse, it's 22 degrees in Leo, your 10th house for career. Now, that doesn't mean that you are going to lose your job or anything, but there could be an aspect of the work that you do that may come to an end. It could be the end of a long-term project that's been taking forever, and then you're like, thank you, God, it's over, or it's accomplished, it's done, right? Or it could be you actually leaving a job and thinking now that you have found something else to replace it with that can just be even better for you. And in that case, for those of you doing that, well, then that is positive for you too. Now, these lunar eclipses is more so just about removing things that are toxic for us. And so if you have felt that in this area of your goals and ambitions for career has left you with difficulties or challenges over time, this is what you can eliminate now. So that's the good news. Um, Looking at your solar eclipse, speaking of good news, what a great placement for you, Leo, as it is showing up in your fifth house for joy, happiness, creativity, children, romance, the things that you love to do when you have extra time in your leisure, hobbies, and so forth. And so, wow. And for the first part, it is in the sign of Pisces, which is extremely creative, and it's in the fifth house of creativity. So are you kidding me? You cannot just believe what is coming up. And not only that, but the new moon is also conjuncting Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So it is ruling this new moon. So there's like a double whammy effect straight through that of January. And coming into the month of February, Venus was there. And I bet you had a lot of joy. So just think back, what did you do in January that you were so happy about? That's what you want to tune into when we look at this solar eclipse. We speak on a monthly basis that we use the new moon to place our intention to grow the seeds of what is yet to come, right? Now, since it's a solar eclipse, it's like a new moon on steroids. It's got the power of three new moons in it all together. So it's going to super warp you forward. And the area that will be affected has to do with your children, has to do with your own creativity and fun and pleasure time. So make this work for you because, yes, we do have it as a new moon, which carries it, for a year onwards. But next year, when the new moon comes here, it probably won't be a solar eclipsed one. That could be years, if not decades, before we see the next um, such situation. And then it may not even be conjuncting with Neptune. So this is super spiritual. It's super magic, to put it that way. So you want to make this magic work for you. I wish you the very best. So go have fun with it there, Scorpio. So, Sagittarius, we are looking at your solar and lunar eclipses for the month. And listen, I feel that we're going to start with the lunar eclipse and what that will do for you. And as with all lunar eclipses, it has to do with eliminating those toxic things that no longer behoove us. So this should be celebrated that the universe is helping us, giving us that little push to rid ourselves for those things that are just a drain. You can come to see that the area where this might just express itself has to do with either higher education. It could have to do with visas and green cards, anything with the law. It could be lawsuits, settlements, and so forth. Education, perhaps, as well. So if you've been working for or towards any one of these areas, you can come to see that this now can come to a conclusion. And then you're done with it. You can wrap it up and just toss it to the winds and let it carry off, right? And so it frees you up. If you've had any worries and things have been procrastinating, taking longer than what you had ever thought, well, this would be the final ending of it. So, choices too, if you've been looking for choices, which direction to go with education and so forth, well, then I feel that you will have clarity. So you can let go of whatever has been working in the back of your mind there. I feel it's all about you now. Tying into um, pride, your own inner sense of self is very important because it's going to leave you feeling that much more now empowered. As far as the solar eclipse, which is a new moon, this is in your fourth house for home, family, foundation. And so not only is this a powerful solar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces rules our imagination, it rules our spirituality, our ability to envision and have our hopes and dreams. It's in the area of your home. So maybe some of you might come to start looking for a new place, a new home, but it's also family, so there could be a lot of good things taking place here within the family. But this eclipse is even more so laden with power, and that is because the new moon is conjunct Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces and the ruler of this solar eclipse. So it's like a double whammy. Watch now how your dreams can shoot into speed with those things that you've been longing for, maybe for a long, long time, because a new moon is not just powerful in itself, which of course it is, but being a solar eclipse new moon, it has the power of three new moons. So the universe, it's like it's picking you up here and then rushing you onwards. And you will see how new chapters are going to be opening up supersonic here in the aftermath of the solar eclipse. So throughout that of spring, you should see things fall into place. Now, yes, we do have new moons in this area once a year. It will come back next year, but you will not have a solar eclipse attached to it, right? It could be years, maybe even decades before the next one comes around. And so this is your shot at getting it right. And it has to do, once again, with residence, home, foundation, family, those things that you've been dreaming about. Neptune is going to help you psychically, because it's such a spiritual energy. Psychically, you can be led and guided now if you allow yourself to do so, to open up and listen. Capricorn, this is your solar and lunar eclipse for what you can come to expect now in February, and it's beautiful because why? We like clearing out the old things that no longer behoove us, right? The things that we know that we can scrap, that's just been piling up on the inside of our emotional selves. If there has been situations that been rubbing you the wrong way over a long time and you're just putting up with it, well, this lunar eclipse will not allow you to do so no longer. This is on the 10th for those of you in the US, on the 11th for those of you in Europe onwards, eastward, should I say. But I would like to say that this is something that you should embrace, look forward to, because every time we keep stuffing and stuffing, and it's just a human thing, it's our nature that we carry with us longer than need be of certain situations. So the moon is just helping us rid ourselves so we can clear out, right? And open up for new things. And the new things, this is why this solar eclipse is coming in the aftermath. And the new things that you will see, Capricorn, coming into your life now, it's in the area of communication. So presentations, whether you're a writer or you're a presenter, or that just communication in the overall, right? This will be enhanced. It's also your interaction with siblings. They might come into the picture for whatever reason here right now to be more supportive. Maybe you will be the one giving more support. The third house also has to do with travel. And not only is the new moon the time of the month that we place our intentions, and we talk about that every month, right, when we plant our seeds. But since it's a new moon solar eclipse, it gives this new moon the power of 3 new moons that will make it supersonic, right? Speed things up. And it is such a blessed solar eclipse to have because it's in the sign of Pisces, which is all spiritual. It has to do with inner joy and happiness. It's very creative, very imaginative, very visual. And it is also coming into a conjunction of Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So double whammy right there, Capricorn. So this is definitely one of those times you really want to circle in on your calendar to set some time aside so you can listen to your thoughts. What is Spirit trying to get across to you? What message are you hearing? Because this is where the prompt of these new beginnings will be. Yes, next year we will have a new moon in this area as well, and it holds the power from 1 month to a year in whatever house it appears in or whatever sign it appears in. But next year when we get the next new moon, it will not be a solar eclipsed one. That could be months, no, that could, a solar eclipsed one, I mean, that could take years, maybe even decades before we get that chance again, exactly right here in your chart. So it is super special. I wish you the very best. I want you to have a lot of fun with it. And do know that this is the power of imagination to really visualize what it is you want to for your happiness, for your harmony, and your creation as you move forward. All right, so have fun with it. So Aquarius, your solar and lunar eclipse here for this month of February. We're going to start off with the lunar one first, which for you is showing up in your 7th house. So that has everything to do with relationships, the long-term committed type relationships. So with your significant other, if you are in a relationship, if not, well, it could be partners that you work closely with one-on-one. Now, I don't want you to fret. Some people do when they hear lunar eclipses, rules, endings. It's like, no, you most likely will not end your relationship. Of course, some of you will do, and if you do, it's because it's needed, and that is behooving you for the higher good of yourself and everybody else involved there. But for the majority, it's actually looking at those aspects between you and your partner. If there has been some ongoing talks or there's been some challenge. Well, this is just showing that it's the end of that challenge so that we can move on from it. So we can really open up the doors and window and allow fresh new starts, beginnings, and so forth. Because there's always beginnings coming in after an ending. And that's what we want to look at. It's just the toxic stuff, guys, that are going to leave right now and the area of or within relationships. The solar eclipse new moon, on the other hand, well, that has to do with your finances. So lucky you. You are the one of the 12 signs in the zodiac that's going to have this extra fortune and luck. A new moon, we get that once a year in this area, and it will come again next year. But the difference here is that it's solar eclipse, giving it the power of 3 new moons all in one. And yes, we do talk about, our new moons on a monthly basis when we do our YouTube readings. That is when we plant our seeds for any new beginning. But this one, since it does have the power of 3 new moons, it is super special. And we're looking at the area of income where you can come to achieve much better a level of, maybe it is your payment, your monthly income, but it could be other areas that money could arrive to you. And it's special because it's creative, it's spiritual. It is here in the sign of Pisces, which is all about happiness, balance, and so forth, creativity. And to power it up even more so, it is being conjuncted here to your Neptune as well. So that's a double whammy effect. So the sky's the limit and beyond. I would say the end of the universe, if there is one, is the end of the limit of what you can visualize and attract towards you. Remember, you are always a magnet that we just attract whatever we hold in our mind. So it's very important, it's imperative that our thoughts are happy, that they are harmonious, that they are creative in a way of being a magnet, right? So keep your thoughts open there. Be very super excited. I am totally excited for you here because you have the best placement of this new moon as far as money, income, finance. Like super wow. So listen, this is what I have for you right now, and we're moving right on to the sign of Pisces. So Pisces, your lunar and solar eclipse, and we're going to start with that lunar one. And for you, this month is in the sign of Leo, and it will show up in your 6th house. So what does that mean? Well, what it does mean is super focus now of what is going to be illuminated with this full moon in the area of health and well-being, that we can eliminate those things that might have been working like toxics or toxins in our life, whether that could be physical from the bad foods that we're eating, or it could also be toxins as far as people that are around us that are just draining the life force that we have. And so this elimination process is only for the higher good. It is also in the area of your day-to-day work schedule, so forth, and maybe that has been your toxin. Maybe you've been working too much. Maybe this lunar eclipse can take that away from you so you can start seeing a new foundation of how you will be working in the future. And you know what? That can only be a good thing. Sometimes we got to set boundaries for overworking. And being a Pisces, setting boundaries doesn't come as the easiest, right? So in that being said, this is a perfect time for you to shore up this whole schedule of your work. It will leave you feeling that much more empowered, happy, and healthy. Your physical body will thank you for it as well. The solar eclipse is in your 1st house. It's super, super powerful. Let me tell you though, Pisces, you of all the zodiac is having this solar eclipse in your sign. It's in your 1st house for your individuality, your personality. It's not only going to be radiant here, and a new moon is always when we plant the seeds, right, for new things to come. We talk about planting those intentions on our monthly forecast. But this new moon, since it is a solar eclipse, it is super powerful as it carries the signature of 3 new moons all in one. Super, super package. And not only that, but it is also going to conjunct your Neptune, which is your ruler. So here we have double whammy in the area of you and you as your person, your persona. Now, Venus has been cruising here throughout your sign in January, so you've already been expressing and taking hold of those things that you love and enjoy and whatnot. It's been laying the foundation of what this new moon is going to want to do when we get to the 26th of February. And I feel that you'll be totally prepared for it. But, yes, we get new moons once a year in this area, so that's not what is special. We will have it next year too, and it empowers us for each and every year. It's like this super vitamin shot that we get. But this new moon, since it is solar eclipsed, that will not be there next year. In fact, it could be years or maybe even decades till we get this chance again. And then it depends, will Neptune be there at that time? Maybe, maybe not. But since it is conjuncting this Neptune, your ruler, it is definitely going to spin some magic here for you. So it is spiritual. You of all the zodiac are the ones that are very old, old souls that are extremely spiritual. You're going to feel a direct guidance. You can have a spiritual experience, maybe even into the metaphysical paranormal, just because your channels are totally open at this time too. So pay attention, see what you can do, if you can spend a little extra time there on the 26th to see what takes place for you. So listen, this is what I have for you, Pisces, in these eclipse forecasts, and I'll see you next month to our monthly forecast.